Hello, everyone. My name is Momma Bonnie, and I'm so happy to see you here back at the burrow. And to all of our new friends, hello. It's so nice to meet you. How was your day? I hope it went well. And now that you're here, my day's gotten even better. Since it's been a little while, since we last read the Moomins. Why, I thought we could start reading them again. But we can't have our story unless we're all comfy cozy. So make sure you're wearing something comfy. And don't forget to bring your favorite stuffy. I think they're gonna want to hear the story too. Don't you? Oh, well then, are we all comfy? Let's get started. Shall we? Tonight's story is Comet in Moominland, chapter 7, which is about how Moomin Troll who rescues the Snork Maiden from a poisonous bush, and in which the comet appears in the sky. The 3rd of October dawned clear, but there was a strange haze over the sun as it rose slowly over the mountain tops and sailed across the red sky. They hadn't set up the tent for the night, but had kept going all the time. A Sniff had got a blister on one foot and was grumbling. "Well, walk on the other foot," said Snuffkin. But this wasn't very helpful advice. And at last, a Sniff couldn't stand it any longer.
"Oh,"
he moaned.
"And now I feel giddy."
And he lay down and refused to go any farther. "We're in a hurry," said Moomin Troll. "I must find that little Snork as quickly as possible."
I know,
interrupted Sniff.
"You're wretched, Snork Maiden. But that's nothing to do with me. I feel terrible, and I think I'm going to be sick."
"We could wait a bit, couldn't we?" said Snuffkin. "And I know something we can do meanwhile. Have you ever rolled stones?" "No," said Moomin Troll. First, Snuffkin found a heap of great boulders. "You take a boulder," he said, "like this. Roll it as hard as you can over the edge of the precipice. Like this. And it rushes down." He puffed. "Like that." Together, they looked over the edge and watched the stone. It crashed its way down, carrying a shower of small stones with it. And for a long time, the echo rumbled back and forth between the mountains. "That was great fun," burst out Moomin Troll. "Let's do another." And they rolled another huge boulder onto the edge, where it balanced precariously. "A heave ho!" shouted Snuffkin. "A heave and push!" Away thundered the boulder. But, oh, horror! Moomin Troll didn't have time to draw back. And before anyone realized what was happening, he was over the edge and falling swiftly in the wake of the boulder. And now there would very likely be one Moomin Troll less in the world if he had not had a rope tied around his middle. A Snufkin threw himself on the ground and braced himself for the shock. And it was a big one. A Snufkin felt as if he would be cut in half. A Moomin Troll swung to and fro on the end of the rope, and he was heavy. A Snufkin was dragged slowly nearer and nearer to the edge. Behind him, too, the rope was pulled tight, and Sniff, who was tied to the other end, began to get pulled along.
Stop.
He shouted.
Leave me alone. I'm ill.
You'll be still worse in a minute if you don't hold on to the rope, said Snufkin. And then a Moomin Troll's voice bellowed up from below. Help! Pull me up! At last, Sniff realized what was happening, and he was so frightened that he forgot to be ill. He began to struggle frantically against the pulling rope, which got thoroughly tangled around him and everything else in sight, until, in the end, it caught fast, and Snufkin was able to crawl back. When I say now, pull, he told Sniff. Not now, not now, but now. And they pulled with all their might until at last a Moomin Troll appeared over the edge. First his ears, then his eyes, then his nose, then still more nose, and eventually the whole of him. Well, strike me pink, he exclaimed. I never thought I should see you two again.
And you never would have done, but for me,
remarked Sniff complacently. A Snufkin gave him an odd look, but didn't say anything, and they all sat down to recover themselves. We've been stupid, said Moomin Troll suddenly.
You've been stupid,
Said Sniff. Absolutely criminal, went on a Moomin Troll, taking no notice. We might easily have rolled one of those stones onto the little Snork Maiden.
If you did, she's flat by now,
Said Sniff, quite unmoved. A Moomin Troll was dreadfully worried. Well, anyhow, we must go on now, he said dejectedly. It's no good forgetting about the comet. So on they went, steadily down the mountainside, with the pale sun shining overhead, out of the pale red sky. At first, at the foot of the mountain, a shallow stream with a sandy bed ran between the stones, and there sat the Hemulin, with his tired feet in the water, sighing to himself. Beside him was a large book called Moths of the Eastern Hemisphere. their behavior and misbehavior.
Extraordinary.
He was muttering.
Not one with a red tail. It might have been Diderformia, but that is very common and has no tail at all.
And he sighed again. Just then, Moomin Troll, a Snuffkin, and Sniff popped out from behind a rock and said, Hello.
Oh, how you frightened me.
Gasped the Hemulan.
So it's only you three again. I thought it was another avalanche. This morning it was terrible.
Oh, what was?
Asked Sniff.
The avalanche, of course.
Answered the Hemulan.
Quite terrible. Rocks the size of houses, bouncing about like hailstones. My best glass jar was broken, and I myself had to move quite quickly to get out of the way.
I'm afraid we happened to knock a few stones down as we were passing, said Snuffkin. It's so easily done, walking on these tracks.
Do you mean to say it was you who made the avalanche?
Said the Hemulan. Well, yes, sort of. Snuffkin answered.
I never thought very much of you.
Said the Hemulan slowly.
And now I think even less. In fact, I don't think I want to know you anymore.
And he turned away and splashed some water over his tired feet. Snuffkin and the others didn't know what to say. So they kept silent. After a while, the Hemulan looked over his shoulder and remarked,
Haven't you gone yet?
We're just going, said Moomin Troll. But first, I feel it's my duty to ask you if you haven't noticed something odd about the color of the sky.
The color of the sky?
Asked the Hemulan innocently. Yes, said Moomin Troll. That's what I said.
Why ever should I?
Said the Hemulan.
It can be spotted for all I care. I hardly ever look at it. What worries me is that my beautiful mountain stream is nearly dried up. If it goes on like this much longer, I shan't be able to splash my feet.
And he turned away again, muttering and growling to himself. Come on, said Moomin Troll. I think he'd rather be alone. The ground was getting softer to walk on. It was thick with lichen and moss, and a few shy flowers peeped out here and there, while below them the dark carpet of the forest looked quite near. We'll make a straight for this flowering valley of yours, said Snuffkin. Because we must get there before the comet comes. Moomin Troll looked at his compass. I think there's something wrong with this thing, he said. It's dancing about like a midge over water.
It's the comet's fault, I expect,
said Sniff. We shall have to go by the sun, said Snuffkin. Although it doesn't seem to be much use either just now. A little farther down, they came to a tarn, which had sunk so low in its stone basin that the sides were too steep for them to get down and have a swim. There was a rim of weeds and rushes some feet above the water level, and it was still wet.
Funny,
Said Snufkin with a wrinkled forehead.
the water sinking as much and as quickly as that.
There must be a hole in the bottom
Said Sniff.
for the water to run out of.
The Hemulan stream had sunk too,
Said Moomin Troll. Sniff looked anxiously into their lemonade bottle. But to his relief, that seemed to have as much in it as before.
I can't understand it.
He said.
Never mind, Sniff.
Said Moomin Troll.
Perhaps it's better if you can't. Come on now.
Just then, they heard a cry for help. It came from the wood just ahead of them, and they set off at top speed to the rescue.
All right,
Shouted Snufkin.
we're coming.
And not so fast.
Sniff panted,
Ow!
for he had fallen over and was being dragged along on his nose by the rope, which still tied the three of them together. But the others didn't stop until they were brought up nose to nose on each side of a tree, with the rope hooked around its trunk.
A darned rope.
A Moomin Troll said angrily. A Sniff was shocked.
Oh,
He gasped.
you swore.
A Moomin Troll ignored him and, hacking at the rope with his knife, muttered something about it being the Snork Maiden who called. The moment he was free, he set off again, as fast as his short legs would carry him. The next minute, the Snork came panting up, green with terror. Snufkin didn't recognize him at first, because, as you may remember, the Snork was mauve when they had met before.
Hurry,
He screamed.
my sister. A terrible bush. It's eating her up.
And to their horror, they found that this was actually the case. A poisonous bush of the dangerous Angostura family had got a hold of the little Snork Maiden's tail and was now dragging her towards it, while she uttered shrill cries and struggled with all her might.
A miserable bush.
Cried Moomin Troll, and, brandishing his penknife, the new one, with a corkscrew and an instrument for taking the stones out of horses' hooves. He circled around it, shouting rude names, such as
Earthworm. Scrubbing brush.
and
Rat-tailed pest.
the bush glared at Moomin Troll with all its green yellow flower eyes, and at last let go of the Snork Maiden and stretched its twining arms towards him instead. Snufkin and the others watched the wild battle that followed, hardly daring to breathe. A Moomin Troll lunged about, with his tail beating angrily, and all the time he attacked waving his arms. A howl of terror was heard from the spectators when one of the green arms twisted itself around Moomintroll's nose. But it changed to a triumphant war cry when he chopped off the arm with a single blow. Then the fight became more violent. The bush was trembling all over, and Moomin Troll was quite red in the face with fury and effort. For a long time, you could see nothing but a whirl of arms, tail, and legs. The Snork Maiden found a big stone, which she threw into the middle of the fight. But as the stone hit Moomin Troll in the tummy, it didn't help much. Oh dear, moaned the Snork Maiden. I've killed him,
Just like a girl.
said Sniff. But Moomin Troll wasn't dead yet. He came up, fighting harder than ever, and cut off, one after another, of the arms. When nothing but a tree stump was left, he folded up his knife and said, in a rather superior manner, a Sniff thought,
Well, that's that.
"Oh, how brave you are," whispered the Snork Maiden.
Oh, I do that sort of thing nearly every day,
said Moomin Troll airily.
Do you?
Said Sniff.
I've never.
But he got no further than a squeak, because a Snuffkin had trotted on his toe. "Oh, what was that?" asked the Snork Maiden with a start, because she was rather nervous after her dreadful experience.
Don't be frightened.
Said Moomin Troll.
I'm here to protect you. I've got a little present for you, too.
And he produced the gold ankle ring. "Oh!" exclaimed the Snork Maiden, turning quite pink with pleasure. "I thought I'd lost it. Oh, how wonderful!" She put the ring on at once, and then turned and twisted, trying to see the effect.
She's been fussing about that ring for 2 days.
Said the Snork.
She could hardly eat. And now, if you are willing, I suggest we go on to a little glade that I know and hold a meeting. I think we have more important things to discuss.
So the Snork led them to his glade, and there they sat in a circle and waited.
Well,
Said Moomin Troll.
what are we going to talk about? About the comet, of course,
Answered the Snork, glancing fearfully at the red sky.
First of all, I elect myself president and secretary of this meeting. Are there any objections?
Nobody had any objections, and the Snork tapped the ground 3 times with his pencil. The Snork Maiden thought he was killing an ant. "Was it a poisonous one?" She asked with interest.
Hush, you're disturbing the meeting.
Said her brother.
It will fall on the 7th of October at 8:42 p.m. Perhaps 4 seconds later. What? The poisonous ant?
Asked Moomin Troll, who was a bit mixed up. What with the battle with the bush and the Snork Maiden's beauty,
No, no, the comet.
said the Snork impatiently.
Now we must ask ourselves, what should be done?
We thought we would go home as quickly as possible, said Moomin Troll. I hope you and your sister will come with us,
I shall have to think it over.
answered the Snork.
We can go more deeply into the question at the next meeting.
Listen, interrupted Snufkin. This has got to be decided at once. It's the 3rd of October today, and it's already afternoon. We have exactly 4 days to reach Moomin Valley. Do you live there? Asked the Snork Maiden. Yes, said Moomin Troll. It's a wonderful valley. And just before we left, I made a swing, and Sniff has discovered a magnificent cave that I shall show you,
Wait a minute.
said the Snork, tapping the ground again.
Keep to the point, please. Now, is it possible for us to reach there before the comet? And if so, can we be safe in this valley of yours?
It's been all right up to now,
Said Sniff. Momma will think of something, said Moomin Troll. You must see the cave, where I've buried my pearls. Pearls? Burst out the Snork Maiden excitedly. Could ankle rings be made out of pearls? I should just think they could, said Moomin Troll. Ankle rings and nose rings and earrings and engagement rings.
That's a question for later.
The Snork cut in, thumping furiously with his pencil.
Be quiet now, my dear sister. There are more important things in the world than nose rings.
Not if they're made out of pearls, said the Snork Maiden. Now you've broken the point of your pencil again. Doesn't anybody want to eat this evening?
Yes, I do,
Shouted Sniff.
We will adjourn the meeting until tomorrow morning.
Said the Snork with a sigh.
There's never an order when girls are about.
Don't take it so seriously, said his sister, and began to take plates out of a little basket. It would be much better if you collected some wood for me. Besides, we shall be quite safe in this cave in Moomin Valley. So, what are you worrying about? Why, what a wonderful idea! Exclaimed Moomin Troll, looking at her in admiration. How clever of you to think of it! Of course, we can hide in the cave when the comet comes.
in my cave.
Squeaked Sniff proudly.
We'll roll stones across the opening and cover the hole in the roof and take lots of food down there and a lantern. Won't it be exciting?
Well, now we'll have to have a meeting anyway.
Said the Snork.
We must organize a working party.
Yes, yes, said his sister impatiently. How about that wood? And, Sniff, Will you go and fetch some water from the marsh? Please. A Sniff and the Snork set off, and the Snork maiden went on laying the table. A Moomin troll, will you pick some flowers for the table? She said.
What color would you like?
He asked. The Snork maiden looked at herself and saw that she was still pink. This had come over her when Moomin Troll gave back the ring, you remember. Well, I think blue flowers would suit me better. So, a Moomin Troll trotted off to find some.
And what can I do?
Asked Snufkin. Play something for me, please, said the Snork maiden. So Snufkin took out his mouth organ and played a song about the blue horizon. It was a long time before the Snork came back with the wood. Well, there you are at last, said his sister.
It took quite a time,
Said the Snork.
because of course I had to find pieces that were all exactly the same length.
Is he always so particular? Asked Snufkin. He was born like that, said the Snork maiden. Now, where's Sniff with that water? But Sniff hadn't found any water. The marsh was dried up. Only a little mud lay at the bottom. And all the poor water lilies had died. He went farther into the wood and found a stream. But that was dry too. It was most extraordinary. At last, a Sniff returned, crestfallen, to the camp.
I think all the water in the world must have dried up.
He said.
We must discuss the matter,
Said the Snork. But his sister had a better idea. Sniff, didn't you have a bottle of lemonade? She asked. And when he brought one out, she emptied it into the saucepan with some berries and produced the most wonderful fruit soup that you could imagine.
But the soup isn't the only thing we have to worry about,
Said the Snork thoughtfully.
There must be some reason why all the water has dried up.
It's probably because the sun is so hot, said Snufkin.
Or else the comet.
Said Sniff. And they all looked up at the sky. It was a dull red in the gathering darkness, and there, just above the treetops, something shone. A little red spark, like a distant star. It didn't move, but it seemed to flicker, as if it were very hot. The Snork maiden shivered and crept nearer to the fire. Oh dear, she said. It doesn't look very friendly. And her color slowly changed from pink to mauve. While they sat and looked at the comet, a Moomin troll came puffing up with a bunch of bluebells.
It wasn't very easy to find them,
He said. Thank you very much, said the Snork maiden. But I should really have asked for yellow flowers. You see, I've changed color again.
Oh, dearie me,
Said Moomin Troll sadly.
Shall I find you some others?
He too caught sight of the comet shining over the treetops. No, don't bother, answered the Snork Maiden. But, please, hold my paw. I'm frightened.
You mustn't be,
Comforted Moomin Troll.
we know it won't hit the earth for 4 days, and by that time we shall be home and snug in the cave. Now we'll eat your marvelous soup and then go to sleep.
So the Snork Maiden ladled out the soup. And when they had eaten, they all curled up together on the mat which she had woven out of grass. The fire slowly died, but above the dark, silent wood, the comet shone, red and ominous. And that's the end of chapter 7. And now then, little ones, I think it's getting late and we should go to sleep. So get all snuggled up underneath your blanket. Hold your favorite stuffy tight, 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 so they know they are loved. Oh, and dream some wonderful dreams. And while you're having those wonderful dreams, I'll get our story ready for next time. How does that sound? And always remember, Mama Bonnie loves you very, very much. Good night.